Now a real softball. Why must the U.S. maintain its leadership? What is wrong with China returning as the global superpower? The U.S. has not been given any guarantees that superpowers of the past were not given. Does humanity not have a right to change its colors?
How much time do we have? It's interesting if you look at world history, this is kind of what this question is about, how the human society and civilization has evolved over time. You know, we used to fight tribal warfare wherever human beings were. Then we had city-states, then we had nation-states, right? So there's been this evolution that's gone on for a long time. I was talking to a friend of mine many years ago about kind of I was bemoaning the state of civilization, I guess. And he was saying, it's only been 4,000 years, give it some time. You know, there's something to that actually, right? But we live in this world right now, and we have to worry about the problems we see right now. What we would like to see for both, I think, Russia and China is that they behave by certain norms of behavior in the world that are ones that a lot of countries have sort of agreed are the acceptable norms for people that are in the community of nations. Okay? And that's still happening. I don't want to get too far into this because it's way out of my lane, okay? I would just rather live in a world in which the U.S. were technically superior in the military, because I think for the most part we are a very benign, positive power in the world. We are not trying to conquer the world or govern other places. You know, we have not stayed in Iraq as the occupying power, and we are not going to stay in Afghanistan as an occupying power. We were there for specific purposes, and when those purposes were done, we leave. We're not an expansionist country in that sense. We are, I think, a very peaceful and benign, if you will, guarantor of certain liberties around the world, you know, for economic freedom, if you will, in part. Now, we pursue our own interests, right, and we do things to protect ourselves. But frankly, I think if I were a citizen of another country and I had a choice of who was going to be the military dominant power in the world, I would feel relatively comfortable if that was the United States and the United States continued that way. I think our allies in the Pacific feel that way very strongly. They don't want us to leave the Pacific, and we'll shift back out there. And it's not about, and I think China needs to evolve in a way which brings it into the community of nations in a very constructive way. And it is, if you haven't read the history of China, I would strongly encourage you to do so. It's a fascinating country with a very rich and interesting history. But it's a history of conflict. It's a history of foreign occupation. It's a history of revolution. Okay? It's a very dynamic, dramatic history, and China has had a very hard time maintaining peace and stability within China over any significantly long period of time. And they have had a very difficult time with foreign occupation and foreign intervention. You know, there is a reason why they view the outside world the way they do. And we're going to have to, you know, take some time and to see a peaceful evolution of their participation in the world community. That's the course that we want to be on, okay? I think that course will be easier if the United States stays in the relative position that it's been in for a long time. China, there's no question, looking at what China's doing, is they're going to close the gap. You know, the question is how far, and do we want to really let any other power be more militarily capable than the United States? I don't think we do, so.
Well, I certainly couldn't agree more, which is why I wanted you to take that question. This is from your staff. You have a choice.
The Secretary is having a staff meeting I'm supposed to be at here.
Okay. Yes, it's according to the Secretary, it's time for you to go.